There is a help pull-down menu in the MacRepertory program. There's also one in ReferenceWorks as well. And if you take your mouse and you click on the help pull-down menu, you'll see that there's a number of items available to you. The very first item says MacRepertory Manual. And if you click on that very first item, it's going to open up the MacRepertory Manual for you. And on the left-hand side, there's literally a menu where you can see all the different categories of items like graphs or the notes window or the patient chart window or analyzing by theme. So if you want to explore the program by looking at various components of the software, you can do that. You can also open any of these menu items up by clicking on the plus to the left of the menu item. So here you see a plus to the left of rubric clipboards, and if I click on it, it opens that up and it gives me the subheadings: rubric clipboard symbols, saving rubrics into notes, moving and removing rubrics, copying rubrics, and so on and so forth. If you want to close that back up again, you simply click on the negative and it closes it back up. So there's a table of contents, and you can simply try to find what you're looking for by looking in there. Perhaps if you don't seem to be able to locate what you want in the table of contents, you can also search through the manual, and you can do that by typing, again, if you've got a Mac computer, it would be Command, and if you've got a Windows computer, it would be Control, and that will be universal. If I ever say Control, you've got a Mac computer, think Command, and if I say Command and you've got a Windows computer, think Control. So I'm going to type Control or Command F, and when I do that, this little search window will appear up here in the upper right-hand corner of the window. And in here, I can type a particular word and search for it. So for example, let's say I'd like to search for, see any information on keynotes. I could type in Keynotes, and then I would hit enter, and it would take me to the first instance of the word keynotes anywhere in the manual. And I could simply hit enter again and move to the next instance and the next one and the next one and the next one. And I could keep moving through, and I could search for any word that I would like in the manual and perhaps find exactly what I'm looking for. Maybe I want to, for example, find combining rubrics. Okay, so I could erase keynotes or highlight keynotes and type in the word combining. And then I'll hit enter. And here you'll see plus combining, and again I can hit enter and enter and enter, and I can move through and I can find all of the various things that I'm looking for. Okay, so just looking at here of any comments. Okay, great. So that's the built-in manual, and again, it exists both in MacRepertory and in ReferenceWorks. It's essentially designed the same way. So once you learn how to use the manual in MacRepertory or in ReferenceWorks, you can use it in the other program, no problem. To move from any open application, and this works both in Windows and in Mac, I can hold the Alt key down on my keyboard, and while holding down the Alt key on my keyboard, if I hit the Tab key, you can see I can toggle between different open applications that I have on my computer. These are all the different programs that I currently have open, and I'm just holding down the Alt key, and while I'm holding down the Alt key, clicking on the Tab key, and now I'm back at MacRepertory, and I'm going to let go of the Alt key, and I'm now back in the MacRepertory software program. If I bring my mouse back over to the Help pull-down menu and I click on it again, you can see that right after it says MacRepertory Manual, it says Introduction to MacRepertory, Repertory, Rubric Clipboards. All of these items listed here are actually videos that you can watch. these are really great for inspiring you about the possibilities of the MacRepertory software, but sometimes they don't explain exactly how to do what's being demonstrated in the particular video. So they're worthwhile to watch. They're created by the founder of the company, David Kent Workington. You can feel his enthusiasm as he goes through and he describes the various features of the program. It'll certainly familiarize you with different features. Again, some of the things aren't fully explained, so you might need a little bit more clarification, which you can either find in the manual. I'm also planning on creating much shorter videos. Most of these are a little bit longer. And I'm planning on creating shorter videos that are maybe anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes in length, which are linked to each of the various features and functions and windows in the MacRepertory and ReferenceWorks programs, so that you can very easily learn about any particular feature with a short little video. So I'll be working on that in the coming months, and you can expect to receive an email notifying you when those are ready. Below the list of videos in the Help pull-down menu, you'll see there's an item that says Keyboard Shortcuts. And if you click on that, it's going to open up this little window, and it's going to show you various keyboard shortcuts. Now, I love these because it really allows you to use the program much more quickly than if you rely exclusively on your mouse. I know many people are wedded to using their mouse, but I think just spending a little bit of time learning these various keyboard commands will be quite useful to you. And, I know some of you are saying, well, learning those keyboard commands, that's going to be awfully difficult. I'll never remember how to do all that. But I can assure you that learning these very small list of keyboard commands is significantly easier than learning everything you have to know to be a good homeopathic practitioner. So, for example, you'll see things like right arrow moves in one level to subrubrics, left arrow moves out one level, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Plus or equal allows you to combine the selected rubrics into one. Control arrow moves rubrics up or down. Control space displays the repertory origin. Some of you might not be familiar with all these things, but again, these are all various keyboard commands that you might want to become familiar with. If you want to close this window, you can simply click on the OK button and you'll close it down. If I bring my mouse back up to that Help pull-down menu and I click on it one more time, right below where it says Keyboard Shortcuts, it says Remedy Names. And if I click on Remedy Names, it's going to actually show me a listing of all of the various remedies that we find in all of the different repertories that are available in the MacRepertory software. There's a little button here in the bottom left-hand corner of this little window, and if I click on it, you can see here it says sort by remedy abbreviations. If I click on it, it will now sort these remedies not by their abbreviation, but actually by the remedy name. If I want to change that, I can click again on this and change it back to being sorted by the abbreviation. So this is a listing of all the remedies and their abbreviations. I can close this window by simply clicking on the X in the upper right-hand corner. And if I now bring my mouse back over to that Help pull-down menu and click on it again and go down to where it says Author Names, I have a similar window, but instead of listing remedies, this window will list all of the various authors that are contained in the MacRepertory software. These are the authors that made additions to the different repertories that are contained, such as the Complete Repertory, or Fatok's repertory, Borki's repertory, or any of the other types of repertories that are available. And again, you can sort these by the author name, or you can click on this little button in the bottom left-hand corner, and you can sort by the author ID. In this case, you can see that the first number 1 author ID is Samuel Hahnemann, and number 2 is his first student, Johann Ernest Staff. If you want to switch it back to sorting by the author name, you simply click on that button in the bottom left-hand corner, and you've got it back by author name. Again, if you want to close this window, you can click on the X in the upper right-hand corner, and you've now closed that window. Again, if you bring your mouse over to the Help pull-down menu and you click on it one more time, you now can go down right below where it says Author Names to the item that says Synergy Website. And if you click on that, it'll take you from within the MacRepertory program right to the home page of the Synergy website. So that's great. Actually, I don't even know if this is the home page. This might be the What's New page. But anyway, it takes you to the Synergy website, and from here you can access any other type of information on this particular website. Again, I'm going to use that Alt-Tab feature. I'm going to hold the Alt key down on my keyboard, and I'm going to hit Tab, until I go to MacRepertory, let go, and I'm back in MacRepertory. There are a few other websites that are available in this Help pull-down menu. Let me show them to you. If I click on Help again, I can go down to what's called HomeoNet. And if I click on that, I'm going to open the HomeoNet website. And this is a place where people basically can exchange information about MacRepertory and ReferenceWorks. There's kind of postings, different topics. It's something that's well worth exploring. So again, you can access this directly from your MacRepertory software. I'm going to Alt-Tab again to get back to MacRepertory, and I'm going to click on the Help pull-down menu one more time. I also want to show you there's a website called Plant Gallery, and if you click on that, this is a lovely website, and it shows you all the different botanical groupings, and will show you actually pictures of the different remedies that are found in those botanical groupings. So here we have the Eliaceae family, which we find onion and garlic located in, and if I click on the little link over here, it's going to open up this page and show me lovely photographs of all of the different members of this particular family grouping. I'm going to Alt-Tab back to the MacRepertory software, click on the Help pull-down menu one more time, and I'm going to go to the last of the websites called Encyclopedia of Life. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to open up the Encyclopedia of Life website. And this is a wonderful website that contains all kinds of information about different living organisms on the planet. And this might be particularly useful to you if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the remedy that's being prescribed, or perhaps you're going to be involved in approving, or you want to do approving, and you'd like to know about perhaps what things out there in nature might be worthwhile to prove. Well, this might be a website that you could use and explore to determine other items from nature which we might want to include in our future Materia Medicas. Great. I'm going to Alt-Tab to go back. So again, this Help pull-down menu is useful because there's a lot of information in here. It's directly available from the MacRepertory and ReferenceWorks software programs, and it's a way that you can learn the program yourself without having to rely on somebody teaching it to you. Of course, there will be the videos, and we'll be ongoing, continuing to produce additional videos in a variety of different ways, but there is always this help available to you from right within inside the software itself. Okay, so I hope that people have had a chance to do some of the things that we've done before in some of the previous videos. Again, I'm going to move through this a little bit quickly. If you get a little bit lost, don't be concerned. Again, everything that I'm going to be doing right now has already been presented earlier in the previous videos that I prepared. So what I'd like to do right now is I just want to go ahead and put some rubrics into some of the clipboards that I have in my toolbar. The toolbar is the item over here on the left-hand side, and this toolbar allows me to open up various windows in the program. By the way, these windows can also be opened up with keyboard commands, and you can find those keyboard commands under the Windows pull-down menu. So I'm going to just show those to you very quickly. If I click on the Windows pull-down menu here, you can see that the keyboard command for opening up the repertory, that's this green window over here. By the way, you can change all these colors. The repertory window is Control 1. To open up rubric clipboards A through D, that's these four right over here on the left, that would be Control 2. To open clipboards 1 through 6, that would be Control 3. To open up the keynotes, which is this key down here on the tool palette, that would be Control 4. The remedy graph would be Control 5. That's this little analysis graph icon located on the tool palette over here. The family graph, which is this circular item over here, can be opened up with Control 6. The elimination window, which is this plus and negative on the tool palette, that you can access with Control 7. The patient's chart, which you can access by clicking on this little folder over here, is Control 8. The tool palette itself, in case you accidentally close it, can be accessed with Control 9, and then the notes, which is the smaller piece of paper over here, is Control 0. Again, I know it's 10 different items here, but it's worthwhile remembering them. And if you want to close any of these, you can always do so by selecting the keyboard command Control W for window. Well, let me just show you how this works really quickly. Let's say I want to open up, clipboard A. I would do Control 3. Control 2, and there's clipboard A. If I want to close it, Control W closes it. If I want to open up clipboard 1, I'll do Control 3, and there's clipboard 1. And if I want to close it, Control W. If I want to open up the keynotes, it's Control 4, and there's my keynotes, and I want to close it, it's Control W. If I want to open up the analysis, I haven't put any rubrics in there, it would be Control 5. Control 6 is the families. Control 7 is the elimination. Control 8 is the patient. Control 9 is the tool palette, and Control 0 is the notes. So again, remembering these I think is very useful because you can open and close windows very rapidly, and this expedites your ability to move through the program. So let's go ahead now and put a few rubrics into clipboard A. The only thing you have to do to make a clipboard the default clipboard is simply to open it. So I'm going to make sure that clipboard A is the default clipboard by typing Control 2. And now I'm going to go ahead and close it. And now clipboard A is my default clipboard. And I'm going to go ahead and put a few rubrics into clipboard A. So if I don't know what these various icons represent as in terms of chapters, the way that I can do that is by hitting the spacebar key on my keyboard, and when I do that I can see the different chapter names of these different chapters. Now I want to find the rubric Fear of High Places, which I know is in the Mind chapter, so I'm going to simply type on my keyboard MI, and then when I do that I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard, and that's going to take me into the Mind chapter. And the first rubric that I want to put in here is the rubric Fear. So I'm now in the Mind chapter, and I'm simply going to type the word fear, F-E-A, F-E-A, and when I type in F-E-A, you'll notice that fear is highlighted over here, and I'm now going to go ahead and hit enter on my keyboard. If you've got a Mac computer, you're going to hit return, so enter for Windows, return for Mac. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard, and when I do that, that rubric fear has now been placed into clipboard A. I know that I've got a rubric in clipboard A because I can see these little lines to the left and to the right of the A. Now if I want to go inside of the rubric fear, the way that I can do that, and I know that there's sub-rubrics here because there's a little asterisk to the left of the rubric. Whenever I see an asterisk to the left of a rubric, it tells me there are sub-rubrics. If I see a plus to the left of a rubric, it means that there are also sub-rubrics, but there are no remedies in that particular sub-rubric. So I want to go further into the rubric fear. The way I can do that, I can click on it with my mouse, but I think the best or more preferable way, again, is to use your keyboard. And the way to do that is to hit the right arrow key on your keyboard. So I'm going to hit the right arrow key on my keyboard, and when I do that, it brings fear to the top over to the right of where the Mind icon is located. If I want to bring it back down, I'm going to hit the left arrow key on my keyboard. So I'll just show you that. Left arrow key brings it down, right arrow key brings it up. Left arrow key brings it down, right arrow key brings it up. So fairly easy to do. Now that I'm in the fear section of the Mind chapter of this repertory, I'm currently using the Complete 2013 repertory, I want to find the rubric Fear of High Places. So now I just need to type the next word in the sequence. I've got the word fear, the next word is high places, or is the word high, so I'm going to type in H-I, and as soon as I type in H-I, the program takes me to high places. I can see that's the highlighted rubric with 48 remedies in it. If I don't know what remedies those are, I can always hit the spacebar key on my keyboard and it will immediately show me which remedies are in all of those rubrics. As soon as I take my finger off of the spacebar key on my keyboard, the remedies disappear. So I want to add that one in, and again it's the same thing. I simply hit enter on my keyboard. Now I want to find fear of dogs. So I'm going to type in D-O-G, and now it takes me to dogs, and I want to put that into clipboard A, so I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to go in. If I want to now find cats, I'll type in C-A-T-S, and now I'm at cats, and I'll hit enter, and I'll put that in. If I want to put some rubrics into clipboard B, the way I would do that is I would click on clipboard B, so that's now highlighted. And now if I'll actually move this to the side so you can see it happening. Let's say I click on Fear of Cholera here, so that's selected. And again, I could either click and drag it over to the clipboard, or I could simply hit enter. And when I do that, you can see that the Fear of Cholera has now gone into clipboard B. And even if I close clipboard B like this, and I click on Fear of Impending Danger over here with 34 remedies, and I hit enter, that's also going to go into clipboard B because that's the last clipboard I had open. So whatever the last item was that you were using, whatever the last clipboard was, all of your rubrics are going to go into that particular clipboard. Great. I'm going to go ahead and click on clipboard A to make sure that I've got that particular clipboard selected. Okay. And what I'd like to show you now is a little bit about how to limit information in your program. And limiting information in your program is always done in whatever window that you're in, is always done in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Okay, and you'll know this because you'll see that to the right of the limitation buttons are this little button that's green. You'll see it over here in the clipboard window, and you can also see it over here in the repertory window. Okay, and here you can see the little green button. So everything to the left of this green button has to do with limiting the information in your software, limiting the information in the particular window in which you are working. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by this. Let's say, for example, you can see everything to the left of here. I've got this little empty field here where I can type in information. And there's also a little downward arrow key here. And if I click on the downward arrow key, I can see that I have some options. So the first one is match any word versus match all words. If I select match any word and I type in more than one word, then it will select both those words to search. In other words, if I type the words fear and also the word dark, it's going to search for both fear and dark, fear and or dark. Okay, so it'll find everything that has the word fear and also everything that has the word dark and also everything that has the words fear and dark. But if I choose match all words, then if I type fear and dark, it's going to only find those rubrics which have both fear and dark in them. Below that, I've got begins with, anywhere, and whole word. Begins with means that if I type in FEA, it will find every word in the repertory that begins with FEA. And if I type select anywhere, it means it will find any word that has FEA anywhere in the word, whether it's the beginning of the word or the end of the word or the middle of the word, it won't matter. If I select whole word and I type in FEA, I will probably find nothing because there is no whole word that is FEA. In that case, I'd have to type in the word fear. And we won't worry about this. We should just basically have show matching rubrics. I think that's the best choice here. So let me just quickly show you how this works. Okay, I'm going to click down here in this empty field, and I'll type in the word. Oops, I have to click in the empty field here, and I have to type in the word fear, F-E-A-R. And you'll see it's actually not a search. What it has done is it has limited the rubrics in my repertory to only those that have the word fear in them. Okay? And when that happened, when I did this limitation, that little green button turned red. That tells me that there's some type of limitation going on somewhere in this window. If I'd like to undo that limitation, I simply click on the red button, it turns back to green, and I've undone that particular limitation. Now, to the left, so again, and if I want to type two words like fear and dark, I could type in fear, space, dark, and now you'll see that it's limited my repertory in the mind section, in the mind fear section, to only those rubrics which have the words fear and dark. By the way, what's important to notice is that this limitation only occurs in whatever section you're currently in. So this is actually only happening in the fear section of the repertory. Okay, if I clear this out by clicking on the red little button here, and then I hit my left arrow key to get back out of it, now I would be searching the whole mind section. Okay, so that's important to remember. You want to pay attention to where you are, because, for example, if I switch from the mind chapter to the head chapter, let me show you what I mean. I'll click on the little arrow to the left of the mind chapter here, and from here I can move to any other chapter, and I'll go ahead and select head. If I now type the word fear down here now, I'm probably not going to find much or maybe nothing at all. Let's try it. I'll type in the word fear. And, well, I did find a few things, but if I typed in fear space dark, you see I find nothing at all because there's no rubric in the head section of the complete repertory that has the words fear and dark in it. Okay? So again, it's important to remember where you are in the particular repertory, either in the chapter or the section, because that's the only area that you'll be limiting your information to. Now, if you go a little bit further to the left, you'll see that there's this little remedy bottle. And again, remember, everything to the left of the green button has to do with limiting the information in this window. So if I click on this, This allows me to limit the information to various remedies, you can see that here at the top, individual remedies, various family groupings, maybe only the polycrest remedies, maybe certain types of authors, italics and stronger, bold and stronger, bold italics only, and then there's all these different settings that have been created or that you can create yourself that allow you to limit in the information in the repertory. Now this is really going to be most useful not so much in the repertory, but when you're in a window like the analysis window, okay? Because it's going to be exactly the same menu in the analysis window as it's going to be in the repertory window. It's going to be the same in the clipboard window. If I click on the remedy thing over here, you'll see the same menu item over here. So again, this limiting to remedies is essentially the same in all the different windows. Let's go ahead and open up the analysis window now, and I'll show you how to use this. So I'm going to type in Control 5, and here is the repertorization of the rubrics that we placed into clipboard A. And again, we'll see in the bottom right-hand corner here, we're going to see, and I got to move this over so we can see all these windows simultaneously. We're going to see the same little remedy bottle. We've also got a new little button here with the letter R, and let me go ahead and show you that one first. Okay, so let's say over here we decide that we want to only see the remedies in the rubric Fear of Dogs. Okay, we just want to experiment, just see which remedies show up in Fear of Dogs, or maybe just Fear of Dogs and Fear of Cats. So what I could do is I could click on Fear of Dogs, and if I want to also select Fear of Cats, the way that I'll do that, if I've got a Windows computer, is I'll hold the Control key down. I believe if you've got a Mac, you hold the Command key down. It might also be Control for Mac people as well, but in any case, it'll either be Control or Command. I'll hold the Control key down, and I'll click on Cats, and now I've selected both Fear of Dogs and Fear of Cats. Now, if I bring my mouse over to the remedy graph window and I click on it, okay, remember I've selected Fear of Dogs and Fear of Cats, right? And now I click on the R, you can see that one of my choices here is selected rubrics. In other words, if I click on selected rubrics, it's going to limit my repertorization to only the rubrics which I selected in clipboard A. So I'm going to click on selected rubrics, and you'll see that Fear of Dogs and Fear of Cats are in bold or are still in black type, whereas the rubric Fear and Fear of High Places has now been grayed out, meaning that those are no longer being considered in the repertorization. Yes, you still see which remedies are in there, but they're not affecting the analysis here on the top. And when I conducted this limitation, that little green button turned red. If I would like to undo that limitation, I can click on the red button and it will eliminate that particular limitation. So again, you can go back and forth and limit various rubrics. If you had, let's say, 10, 15 different rubrics, you could just try different things and see how the analysis has changed by choosing and selecting certain rubrics or not other rubrics. Okay. You can also, if you looked at this R feature here, you can also choose underlining to limit your repertorization to. So let's go over here and I'll actually add some intensity or underlining to the various rubrics. I'll click on Fear, and I'll type the number 1 here to underline it once. I'll click on Fear of High Places, and I'll hit the number 2 on my keyboard to underline it twice. I'll click on Fear of Dogs, and I'll hit the number 3 on my keyboard to underline it 3 times. And I'll click on the rubric Fear of Cats, and I'll hit the number 4 on my keyboard to underline it 4 times. And you can see that that's been reflected in the repertorization over here. Now, because I've underlined or added intensities to my various rubrics, I can go back, click on the R over here, and I can say, okay, I only want to see those rubrics that are underlined 4 times. And if I click here, now you can see that only Fear of Cats, which is the only rubric which was underlined 4 times, is the one that is affecting my repertorization. The other 3 have simply disappeared. And this has narrowed down my list of remedies significantly because that's the only one that's being considered. If I'd like to clear that out, I can click on the red button and clear it out. If I click on the R again, I can say, well, maybe I want to see just the 3 and the 4 underlinings. Okay, and again, I can click on that, and now you'll see just Fear of Dogs and Fear of Cats is being considered in the repertorization. And again, if I would like to clear that out, I can click on the little red button here and turn it back to being green. Okay, so very nice, very flexible, easy to go around and change the information quite readily. The next item to the left here is that little remedy bottle, okay, and that allows you to limit your analysis to family groupings, to remedies, and to actually create your own various types of groupings that you would like to limit your analysis to. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'd like you to see that there's already some existing ones that come in the program, like Loganacea and minerals and animals and Fabaceae, Asteraceae, Apiaceae, various groupings, okay? And then here at the top you can see individual remedies, okay? So maybe, for example, I'd like to limit my repertorization just to a number of individual remedies. So I can click on individual remedies, and here's the remedies, and I could select some remedies. Let's say I would like to limit my repertorization to Serinum, Silica, and Metarhinum. Okay, so I'll type in silica first, S-L-I-C, and then I'll click on it to select it, and then I'll type in Metarhinum, M-E-D. Now remember, I have to hold the Control key down on my keyboard to select Metarhinum without deselecting silica. So I'll hold the Control key down on my keyboard, and I'll click on Metarhinum and select that, and then I'll type in Serinum, P-S-O-R, here's Serinum, and again I'll hold the Control key down on my keyboard, and while holding the Control key I'll click on Serinum, and maybe I say, well, I don't know if maybe I unchecked one of the other ones. You can always go over to this little button here that says Show Selection. You've got Show All and Show Selection, and if I click on Show Selection I can see that, yes indeed, Metarhinum, Serinum, and Silica have been checked off, and if I now click on OK, you can see that I've limited my repertorization to just those 3 remedies. If I would like to undo this particular limitation, I simply go down to the bottom left-hand corner of the window, click on the little red button, and it undoes that particular limitation. So I can do it for individual remedies, and I can also do it for family groupings. Let me show you how to do that. I bring my mouse down to the bottom left-hand corner, I click on the little remedy bottle, and this time, instead of going to individual remedies, I go to individual families. So I'm going to click on individual families, and now I've got 2 options. I've got families A to Z or families. Now for most of you, unless you're familiar with some of these approaches to organizing family information, unless you're familiar with that, you're probably going to want to select families A to Z, which lists the families alphabetically. Here you have to have some knowledge of the various organizational schemes, and if you don't have that knowledge or information, you might get a little bit lost. So again, I'm going to click on families A to Z. That's listing all the information alphabetically, and let's say I'd like to limit my repertorization just to the Solanacea. So I'm just going to type on my keyboard S-O-L-A-N, and when I do that, I've got Solanacea. Here's Solanacea families. I think I'll go ahead and choose that one, Solanacea families. I'll check it off, and I'll click OK, and now you'll see I've limited my repertorization to only remedies which are in the Solanacea or nightshade grouping. Okay, and here you can see Hyoscyamus, Stramonium, Belladonna, Lycopersica, Mandragora, and so on, and Solanum tuberosum, and so on and so forth. Okay, if I'd like to undo that limitation, I can bring my mouse to the bottom left-hand corner, click on the little red icon, little red button, and it will undo that particular limitation. Now, maybe you would like to limit your repertorization to 2 groupings. For example, maybe you'd like to limit your repertorization to snakes and also spiders. And you click on the little remedy bottle in the bottom left-hand corner, and you notice that there aren't any groupings here that are given for snakes and spiders. Matter of fact, there isn't even snakes or spiders already in there. But you would like to create one for snakes and spiders. So what you can do is you go back up to where it says individual families. You click on it. Again, we're going to select families A to Z, the alphabetical organization of the family groupings. You click on that, and I'm going to type in snakes, S-N-A-K-E-S, okay, and there's snakes, families. I'll select snakes, and now I'm going to type in the word spiders, S-P-I-D, okay, there's spiders, families. I'm going to hold the control key down on my keyboard to select them both. So now I've got spiders. I want to make sure I didn't uncheck snakes, so I'm going to click on where it says show selection. And I can see I've got them all. Actually, it's giving me the Latin names as well. Araenia is the spider family. Serpantes is the new, it used to be Ophidia. Serpentis is now the new name for snakes. So it's got the Latin and the common names. That's what I wanted. And now I'm going to click on the OK button. And I've now limited my repertorization to snakes and spiders. Now, once I've done this, I can go ahead and bring my mouse back down to the little remedy bottle here. I can click on it, and I can say click on this little item here that says Save Current Limits. The current limits that I've got are snakes and spiders. So I'm going to click on Save Current Limits, and I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it Snakes and Spiders. And I'm going to click on the OK button. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to undo this limitation by clicking on the little red button in the bottom left-hand corner. And now if I click on my little remedy bottle, you'll notice that in my list, I've got underneath Ranunculaceae, I've got snakes and spiders. And if I click on it, it automatically limits my repertorization. Now, let me just warn you that some of the features in the program, this last feature where you can create your own defined limitations, that may or may not be available to you depending on the version of the software that you're using. If you've got one of the lower end versions like the classical package, that particular version of the software does not allow you to do any type of modifications to the program. You can't edit or add information or change your analysis strategies or graphs or anything along those lines. So just be aware of that. That if you try to do this and you're not able to, you might need to get a higher level version of the program to be able to do certain functions in the software. Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead now and unlimit the limitation that I've assigned to this repertorization, the one of limiting my analysis to snakes and spiders. I'll click on the little red button here, and I'll go ahead and undo that particular limitation. Now, there is, by the way, another way to very quickly limit to various remedies. Maybe you want to just look at a number of different remedies in your analysis very quickly. And the quick way to do that actually is if you hold the Alt key down, at least for Windows it's the Alt key. For Mac it might be Option. I'm not sure, but for Windows it's the Alt key, and for the Mac it might be Option. Usually when you say Alt key in Windows, oftentimes that will translate to the Option key for a Mac user. So I'm going to hold the Alt or maybe Options key down, and I'm going to click on Silica and Tuberculinum and Serinum and Plumbum and Hyoscyamus. Maybe those are the remedies that I'd like to study. So now I've selected those. Everything seems to be the same, but if I now hold the Control or Command key down on my keyboard, and while I'm doing that, I hit the letter E for elimination, boop, I'm only showing those remedies which I selected: Silica, Tuberculinum, Serinum, Plumbum, and Hyoscyamus. If I want to undo that, I do Control E again, and it undoes it. Control E again brings it back to just those 5 remedies. Control E again undoes it, so I see all of the remedies. So this is a very quick and easy way to look at just a number of remedies that you'd like to study without having to see everything in the list. And then if you want to undo it very quickly, it's just Control E or Command E, which will toggle you back and forth between showing just the limited remedies or only the or all of the remedies. Okay, and again, the way that you limit it is by Alt or maybe with a Mac Option and clicking on the remedies that you'd like to limit to. Now, when you did that, actually, what actually happened here is that information, those remedies, actually went into the elimination tool window over here. And if you remember from earlier, that is the keyboard command Control 7. And Control 7 actually opens up. You could actually click on the plus minus in the tool palette here, or you can do Control 7, and that's going to show you that in the elimination window there are these 5 remedies. Okay, and that's why when you do Control E, it's limiting it to just those 5 remedies. If you want to undo that, you don't want it to be eliminating to those 5 remedies any longer, you simply highlight this line, hit backspace to delete it, and now after you close this window, now if I do Control E, you see it doesn't do that anymore. It just eliminates everything altogether. Okay, because those are the remedies that are not going to be eliminated. Now it eliminates everything altogether. Okay, so I hope that's clear for everybody. Is essentially how that particular feature works. Now, since we're looking at the elimination window, let me show you a little bit more about how that window works. The elimination window, which is this plus and minus over here, or remember Control 7 on your keyboard, okay, that's the window that allows you to cross rubrics and also to combine rubrics together. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by this. Let's say, for example, I would like to combine the rubric fear of dogs with the rubric fear of cats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rubric fear of dogs, I'm going to click my mouse, hold my mouse down on top of it, and while I'm holding the mouse button down, I'm going to drag the pointer over to the plus, and I'm going to let go. And I'm going to do the same thing with the rubric fear of cats. I'm going to click, I'm going to hold my mouse button down on top of fear of cats, I'm going to drag the mouse button over, bring it over to the plus, and I'm going to let go. Now, if I click on this little plus here, you can see that the remedies that are listed in this particular rubric here, these are the combination of all of the remedies of those two rubrics. If I want to view the rubrics themselves, I can click on the little button here in the bottom left-hand corner. Here are the two rubrics. You can see a plus sign, which means they're being added together. If I click again on that little icon, now you can see the remedies themselves in those rubrics. If I want to hide the eliminated, there are no eliminated remedies here. If I click here, it'll be exactly the same thing because there's nothing being eliminated. It's just a combination of those two rubrics. Okay. Oops, close the window. Now, if I would like to combine this and I want to add it to my clipboard, okay, clipboard A, all I do is I click on this series of rubrics, or remedies, sorry, remedies. I drag it over to clipboard A, I put the pointer in the center of clipboard A, I let go, and a little window pops up that says enter a name for the merged rubrics. Well, remember, this was being created from fear of dogs and fear of cats. So I'm going to type in fear of dogs and cats. And I'll click on OK. And now I've created a new rubric, fear of dogs and cats, which is the combination. Now, some of you might be saying, wait, hold on a second. Fear of dogs and cats got 45 remedies, and fear of dogs has only got 39, and fear of cats has got 11, 39 and 11, well, that's 50. How come this is only 45? Well, some of the same remedies are in these two rubrics, and those don't get counted twice. So that's how basically you can combine two rubrics together and make your own new rubric. If you would like to eliminate this stuff here, all you do is make sure that it's highlighted, hit backspace or delete, and you will eliminate or remove that information from the elimination window. Okay, now what I'm going to do, let me move this out of the way here. What I'm going to do now, you can see you can have multiple windows opened up and looking at them. What I'm going to do now here is I'm going to actually cross two rubrics against each other. I'm going to create a new rubric by crossing two against each other. So let's do it with the same rubrics. Let's do it again with fear of dogs and fear of cats. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take fear of dogs, I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to select it, and then instead of bringing it over to the plus, I'm going to bring it over to the negative sign. I'm going to bring it to the negative, and I'm going to let go. And I'm going to take the fear of cats, and again I'm going to highlight it, hold my mouse button down, bring it over to the negative, and I'm going to let go. And now you can see that in the elimination window, here's all the remedies, but if I click now, I'll hide the eliminated remedies. Here you can see there's only 5 remedies. Well, that was the difference. The 50 minus the 45, here's the 5 that are only in both of these rubrics, which are common to fear of dogs and fear of cats. And if I would like to add this as a rubric into my clipboard, again, I just click on this, and I drag it over to clipboard A, put the pointer in the center of clipboard A, let go, and now I have to give this new rubric a name. It's an elimination rubric. I'm going to call it fear of dogs and cats crossed. Okay, and I'll click on the OK button, and now you can see I've got a new rubric with only 5 remedies, which are the remedies which are common to the two rubrics. If I'd like to get rid of what's in this elimination window, just make sure it's highlighted, hit backspace or delete, and it is now gone. So some of you might be saying, well, why do I need to use this? Actually, combining rubrics using the plus is very, very common in practice. The reason for this is that you oftentimes have remedies which are in one rubric, but not in another with a very similar meaning. For example, let's say you have a patient that comes in who's a liar, deceitful, dishonest, and untruthful. Well, those are all different rubrics in the repertory, but they don't have the same remedies in them. And you simply can't open up a dictionary and say, okay, liar means this, and dishonest means this, and untruthful means this, and this guy's more of a liar than he is dishonest, or more deceitful than he is untruthful. How do we know what the difference between untruthful and dishonest is? It's pretty much the same thing, but they don't have the same remedies. So in those circumstances, what you need to do is you need to take those different rubrics with a similar meaning, and you need to combine them together by putting them in the plus and making one rubric. And in that way, you make sure that you don't lose the remedy, because maybe the remedy is in dishonest but not in liar, or in deceitful and not in untruthful. And you don't want to put them all in there, because then you're overemphasizing the issue of dishonesty in the case. The patient's not a liar and deceitful and dishonest and untruthful. Those are just different descriptions of the fact that he is a fairly disingenuous individual. The second feature of crossing rubrics one against the other by bringing them over to the negative sign, that's not as commonly used. Probably the best instance of using such a feature would be if you wanted to manufacture a rubric that did not exist in the repertory. And I say this with a little bit of caution here, because there's some philosophical reasons why this may not make sense, but let me just explain. Let's say that you've got a patient who's got a fear of thunderstorms at nighttime. You might think it's reasonable to take the rubric fear of thunderstorms and fear of night and to cross them and make one rubric, which is fear of thunderstorms at night. And you could experiment with that and see if perhaps that might assist you in creating a rubric which doesn't exist in the repertory, which perhaps would help you in solving a particular case. Okay, really very good. That's basically the limitation feature, okay, again, in the bottom left-hand corner of the window, and we discussed a little bit the elimination tool, and both of these allow us to limit information in the repertory, or in the analysis window, or in the clipboard window, or in any window where these particular functions are found. Now, I just want to show you that you can do some pretty incredible things here. For example, you could be in the head section. You could type in the word pain here. You could limit all of your rubrics to head pain, only rubrics that have head pain, and then you could go over to the remedy icon here, and you could select an individual remedy, okay, like natrum muriaticum, okay, and you could find only those rubrics in the repertory that have the word pain in the head section, and that also have the remedy natrum muriaticum. So there's a lot of interesting, wonderful little features that you can combine together in this manner to help you understand and learn more about various remedies or different aspects of homeopathic practice. Okay. Let's move on now to looking a little bit at patients and notes. I'd just like to review that information. I'd like to explain the patient window and show you how to use that. Remember that those can be accessed from right over here. We've got the patient chart here, and we've got the note chart over here. The keyboard command for the patient is Control-8, and for the notes it's Control-0. So really the first thing you want to do, even before you open up this section about untitled cases, the first thing you really want to do here is you want to create a new patient. And the way to do that is to simply, you can do it two ways. You can go over to where it says File here, and you can select New Patients Chart, or you can use the keyboard command Control plus the letter N for New. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that, Control N, and I'll go ahead and give this patient a name. We'll call him Jerry Winkler. Okay. And you can see here's a listing of other patients, and I'll go ahead and click on the Save button, and now I've got my Jerry Winkler here, and now I can start to populate the various fields of information that are available for Jerry Winkler. So you can see that there's 3 items here: patient information, analysis and diagnosis, and plan and prescription. I'll go ahead and click on patient information first, and I'll go ahead and type in the information about the patient. First name is Jerry. And I'll tab over and I'll type in Winkler. And I'll tab over again, and we'll make them 16 DuPont Street. Okay. And the city will be Williams. Okay, and the state will do Virginia. And zip code 011131. We're just making this up. Country is USA, and you type in his phone, 707-444-23231, whatever it is, and the home and date of birth. And then you've got these empty fields where you can put in whatever information you'd like, and then you can select whether he's a male or a female. I'll go ahead and select male here. And as soon as you've entered all this information, you don't need to save it. It's automatically saved. You close this window, and you've now got that information listed in here. Okay. Now you can also save your clipboards and your repertorizations to your patient. Okay, so if I go ahead and I click on the clipboard A here, okay, and I want to save this, all I got to do is select it, and then all I got to do is type Control or Command S, and as soon as I do that, you can see rubric clipboards A through D, Mind Fear. It takes the largest rubric and it makes that the name of the rubric. If I'd like to change that, all I do is I right-click on where it says rubric clipboards A through D, and then I go down in this pull-down menu to where it says rename the item, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that, and I'm going to call it, let's say, fear symptoms. Okay, and then I click on rename, and there's my fear symptoms, or I could have called it fear rubrics. If I'd like to save a repertorization, then I can click on the repertorization tool here, the analysis window, and I do again same thing, Control or Command S, and as soon as I do that and I go back over to my do Control A to go back to my patient file, here you can see MacRepertory remedy graph has been saved. Okay, I can also save notes as well. If I go ahead and click on open my notes here, let's say I could actually type in my whole case right in and put it right in here in the notes, or maybe you've got previous cases. Let me see if I've got a case here. I'll go ahead and pull up a case. Okay, here's a case, and I'll open up this case, and I'll go ahead and select the whole thing by doing Control A and then Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac to copy it. And I'll move back over to my MacRepertory program with Alt Tab. Then if I want to paste this in, I simply do Control or Command V, and I've now pasted all this information. So again, I could type this case right into my notes here, or I could copy it from a Word document or from some other document, and then by Control C and then Control V to paste it in. And then if I want to save that note, I just need to be in the note, type Control S, and then as soon as I do that, you'll see the note appears under Jerry Winkler. And so I can save the whole case that I've typed in, all the different clipboards. By the way, clipboards A, B, C through D are saved as a block. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are saved as a block. So this would be everything that's in A, B, C, and D. And if I had opened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I saved that, that would be saved separately as a different block of clipboards. You'll notice there's a date here. Okay, this is today's date, and everything will be put in this today's date. And if you come back later on and you want to open the patient's case, you can simply go over to your file pull-down menu and go to Control O for opening a patient's chart, find the patient, double-click, and it will open up to today's date, but then you'll be able to scroll backwards to this particular information and find it. You'll also find in the bottom right-hand corner of this particular window a little icon, and if I click on it, you'll be able to see all of your other patients. The bottom right-hand corner icon always shows you all of the other documents which are similar to this one. So if you're in the repertory window, it'll show you all of the other repertories that you have available to you. If you're in the keynotes window, it'll show you all the other keynotes that are available to you. You can also click on the date here and you can change this information. You can go to a particular session, you can create a new session, you can change the date of the current session, and you can delete the session from here. So you could actually change the date. Now usually you're going to want to use the date that's there, but maybe you have a reason for changing the particular date. And again, remember, if I close this all down and I reopen it later on a different date, it's going to be on a different date with new information, and then I'll be able to click on these arrows here to go to the previous session or to the very first session, or I can click on the right arrow to go to the next session or to the last session. In this case, I don't have any previous or first or next or last session, so there's nothing that works. But if I had opened up another, let's actually do it. I'll show you. Let's go to one that I think I've had, Richard Nixon here, for example. So here's Richard Nixon. Now you can see here on today's date, I've got no information saved, but here I've got the previous session and the first session, and if I click, there is a previous session that I could find all this information. And from here, I could actually open up the remedy graph or the clipboards, okay? And here I could open up the remedy graph. Here are the rubrics, and I can make my modifications, and I can save it to the new date. This is really easy to do, and it allows you to save everything and keep it related to the patients that you're working on. Okay, so let's now move to searching for through keynotes or notes. Okay, so let's open up a note here. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and do Control-V to type in information again. Let's say you've got your notes typed in here about your patient, and you'd like to find information about that, but that's somewhere that you typed in this note. Okay, so you can do this with the keyboard command Control-F for find. If you don't remember that, if you click under the search pull-down menu, you can see here it says find words. Okay, so this will allow you to search both in your keynotes and also in your notes. All right, so here I've got my notes, and let's say I do Control-F. Oops, sorry. Got to click on this, do Control-F. No, I'm sorry, just do find words. It's not Control-F. Okay, sorry. So click on find words here. And now you have enter the word or phrase to find. Okay, so I'm going to type in the word she, because I'll probably have that word in there. And again, you have the choice to match the whole word, match the start of a word, or match anywhere. And I simply will now click on G, on search, and it will find G. If I want to go to the next word, it's Control-G, 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 and I can search through the notes that I've typed about my patient. Okay, this is nice to be able to find information about something that you typed in a particular case in your notes. And it works exactly the same way in the keynotes. I'm going to go ahead and open up the keynotes. Keynotes is Control-4. Okay, so there's the keynotes. And let's say I want to find, let's find a word like fear that we'll most certainly find. Okay, let me go to an earlier, I'll do fear. So again, I bring my mouse over to the search, and I go down to find words. Okay, and I'll type in the word fear here, and I'll hit enter, and there's the word fear. And now I just do Control-G, and it moves me through my keynotes, finding the word fear. So this is how you would search through both notes and through keynotes. And again, you'll find this if you go to the search pull-down menu and you go to where it says find words. That's where you'll locate that particular information. Now Control-F is remedies and words, okay? And that allows you to search for remedies and or words together. And that's different than searching through the structure of the repertory. This allows you to be able to basically disregard the chapters of the repertory. Here, you're unconcerned about chapters. You don't need to know anything about the structure of the repertory. You simply want to find any remedy or any word or any combination of remedies and words that are in the repertory. So let me show you how to use that. We're going to go ahead and type Control-F or select remedies and words. And here you can see that there's a part of this window for remedies and a part for words. Okay, so let's say, for example, I just want to search for a word. Okay, so let's say I want to search for the words fear and dark. Okay, so I'll type in the word fear over here, And then I'll hit enter, and a new field will appear. And now I'll type in the word dark. And then all I do is I go to the bottom here. This is going to search in the current repertory that I'm using. And I click on the search. And you'll see I got 16 results in the mind section. I'm going to go ahead and put those in one of my clipboards. I can choose any clipboard I would like. I'm going to go ahead and put them into clipboard 6. So I'll click on clipboard 6 here. Okay. And actually I have to select on mine here to select this. So I've selected the 16 rubrics that are in mind. I've selected clipboard 6 over here. I can choose to empty the rubric clipboard first. Okay. But I won't worry about that now. There's no rubrics in clipboard 6. And I'll go ahead and click on the OK button. And here I've got a listing of all of the rubrics in the complete 2013 repertory which have the words fear and dark. And I can now take these rubrics and I can drag them over to any of the clipboards that I would like. So let's say I would say, oh, I want fear of the dark and closing eyes. I can click on it and I can drag it over to clipboard A, and it will be added over into clipboard A. Let me show you down here so you can see that happening in real time. There you can see fear of dark. Maybe I want to put in fear of ghosts, specters of the dark. I can click on that one, and I can drag it over to clipboard A, put it in the center, and let go, and it gets added over here. Okay, so works relatively easy. Once I'm finished doing that, if I don't need this anymore, I can just do Control A to select it all, and then hit backspace or delete, and that will eliminate all of that information. Let's go back to that find words and remedies, Control F window. Okay, you saw that we could combine different words together. I can also combine this with particular remedies. So maybe I want to find only the rubrics that have the words fear and dark, but also only have the remedy stramonium in them. Okay, so I'll click in the remedies side of the window over here, and I'll type in STRAM for stramonium. I've got stramonium and the words fear and dark. And now I'll go ahead and hit enter, and I'll go ahead and click on the search field down here. And now you see I've only got 4 results. In other words, there were only 4 rubrics that have the words fear and dark and also have the remedy stramonium. And if I now click on that to select it, clipboard 6 is still selected, so I'll go ahead and select OK. Now you can see here are the 4 rubrics which contain the words fear and dark and also have the remedy stramonium in them. Let's go back to that same window. Control F brings me back to that same window. And this time I'm going to get rid of dark. I'm going to highlight dark and hit backspace to delete it. And what I want to do now is I'd like to compare a grouping of remedies. Let's say that I've got a patient who has the center of the pathology for this patient is his fears. It's his fears that prevent him from leading a happy and a creative life. It's his fears that, as it says in the 9th aphorism of the Organon, prevent him from reaching the lofty goal of human existence. It's his fears that really impede and prevent him from being able to be a productive, functioning human being. And let's say I've narrowed down my choices of remedies to 3, stramonium, belladonna, and hyoscyamus. And I'd like to compare the fears of these 3 remedies to see which of these choices is really the best one for this particular patient. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in all 3 of those remedies. I'm going to click in the second field here, and I'll type in hyoscyamus. I'll hit enter to get a third field, and I'll type in BELL for belladonna. By the way, if you don't know the remedy abbreviations, you can click on this little choose button here, and you can select the remedies from the list. Okay, you can just start to type them in and then check them and they'll go in there. Okay, so I've got those, and I can also, by the way, choose the types that I want selected, like just a plain type remedy, italic, bold, bold, italic. So I can choose which degrees of these remedies in the repertory are going to be extracted. Okay, I'm not going to concern myself with that right now. Okay, and I can choose how I'm going to match this. Okay, so right now it says all, which means I want the rubrics that have all 3 of these remedies in it. Okay, but I can choose just one or just 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10% or all. So I have these options, okay? Let me show you how this works, okay? So I've got these 3 remedies. I've got all, and I've got the word fear. That means I'm going to find all the rubrics that have the word fear, okay, and that also have all 3 of these remedies in it. So let's go ahead and click on the search button here. You can see that I have 26 results in mind, 1 in cough, 1 in sleep, 2 in generalities, and 1 in Marili's themes. And I'm going to stick this into clipboard 6 over here. But if you remember, I already have some rubrics in clipboard 6. Okay, so I'm going to select empty rubric clipboard first to eliminate those. Okay, I'm going to highlight all of these by doing Control A to select them all. I've selected them all. They're going to go into clipboard 6. I'm going to empty the rubric clipboard first. I'm going to click on the OK button. And now here is a listing of 31 rubrics, fear symptoms in the repertory, which all contain stramonium, belladonna, and hyoscyamus. These are fears that are shared by stramonium, belladonna, and hyoscyamus. I'm going to now go back to Control F. Okay, and what I'm going to do now, okay, is I'm going to uncheck 2 of these. You see, right now these have got pluses. Okay, so I'm going to take the plus to the left of hyoscyamus. I'm going to make it a negative, and I'm going to take the plus to the left of belladonna, and I'm going to make that a negative. And what this is now saying is I want to find all the rubrics that have the word fear, that have stramonium, but do not have hyoscyamus and do not have belladonna. Follow that? These are all the rubrics that have the word fear, that have stramonium, but do not have hyoscyamus and do not have belladonna. And I got to go to the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to click on the search button. And now I've got a number of results that came up. I'm going to do Control A to select them all. I'm not going to put these into clipboard 6 because I've already got rubrics in clipboard 6 that I want to look at. I'm going to put these into clipboard 5. I'm going to select clipboard 5. And I'm going to click on the OK button. And now in clipboard 5, this is a list of fears that stramonium has that hyoscyamus and belladonna do not have. So if the patient, for example, has a fear in the afternoon, and a fear about trifles, and a fear on waking, a fear of being alone at night, and a fear of being alone in the darkness, and all of these fear of being attacked, all these symptoms that are here, then that's going to lead you or lean you towards prescribing stramonium, because these are fears that stramonium has that hyoscyamus and belladonna do not have. And you would do the same thing for hyoscyamus and belladonna. Let me show you how. Control F brings me back. I'm now going to take the stramonium. I'm going to make that the negative. I'm going to make the hyoscyamus a plus. And again, I'm going to click on the search button. This time I'm going to select clipboard 4. I'm going to do Control A to select them all. I'm going to click on the OK button. And now I've got a listing of fears which hyoscyamus has, but belladonna and stramonium do not have. So if the patient said, I have a fear of knives and of getting old and of being pursued and of syphilis, well, then you would be more inclined to give hyoscyamus. I'll do Control F one more time, and now I'll make the negative next to hyoscyamus, and I'll make the plus next to belladonna, and I'll click on the search button, and this time I'll select clipboard 3, and I'll do Control A to select them all, and I'll click on the OK button. And now here are the fears of belladonna, which are unique to belladonna and which stramonium and hyoscyamus do not have. And I could simply go from clipboard 3 to clipboard 4 to clipboard 5 to clipboard 6. 6 is the ones that they all share together. Clipboard 5 is the ones that are unique to stramonium. Clipboard 4 is the ones that are unique to hyoscyamus. And clipboard 3 is the ones that are unique to belladonna. And in this way, I can compare these different remedies specifically for the fears that are contained in the repertory. I've used this feature quite a bit. It's a very wonderful way to study remedies in comparison. It also is absolutely fantastic in clinical practice. I remember a number of years ago I had a case of a patient who came in who was quite warm-blooded, whose chief complaint was diarrhea that was driving them out of bed in the morning. And that's a well-known keynote of the remedy sulfur. It's also a keynote of the remedy aloe and it's also a well-known symptom of the remedy podophyllum, all three of which are warm-blooded remedies. So what I did was I put the diarrhea section, I put the word diarrhea in, and I limited the search to just those three remedies, and I did exactly what I showed you here. And I found that aloe had certain symptoms of diarrhea that the patient had, which were not found in sulfur or podophyllum. I gave it based on that discovery, and it worked beautifully and actually cured the patient altogether. So you can see it can actually be used very nicely in clinical practice. Let me just show you here that you can also do these searches not just in one repertory, but in all the repertories. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out. Okay, and I'm going to just choose, let's say, two words here. I'll do fear and dark. So I'll type in the word fear, enter, type in the word dark. Okay, and here you can see that I can do certain limitations. Like I can choose rubrics that have less than 100 remedies, less than 50 remedies, less than 25, or any number which is the default. Maybe if you're trying to extract keynotes of a remedy, you might use this particular feature. You can also choose certain authors that you don't want or only want to be selected. You can check off only certain authors that made additions to these rubrics. Maybe you only trust certain people. And you can also choose certain repertories that you would like selected. You can select off a number. Here you can see the only one that's selected currently is a complete 2013. And you can also choose certain sections as well. So you could choose any of a number of different sections in the repertory. Okay, but what I want to show you here right now is that you can also choose all available repertories. Okay, and that means that it's not going to just search in the complete 2013, but it's actually going to search in all the repertories that you have in your software program. So now I've got the words fear and dark. Everything else that I showed you is applicable here, can be done, but now I'm going to just do fear and dark and all available. And I'm going to click on the search button. And you can see that it actually shows me there's one result in the acute repertory, two in Allen's repertory, two in Bach-Kent-Mind repertory, one in Bonninghausen, one in Berkey, one in Bozier, Son and Clark, and you can see 15 to complete. So it shows me all the results. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick this into the clipboard number 2. We don't have anything in there right now. It's clipboard number 2. Okay. I'm going to do Control-A to select them all. And I'm going to click OK. And now I've actually extracted from every repertory every rubric that has the words fear and dark in it. Now you might say, well, I don't know, how do I know what repertory these are coming from? All you do is you hold the Control key down on your keyboard, or Command key on if you're using a Mac, and then hit the spacebar key, and then it will show you which repertories these are coming from. Okay, so you can see here the very top one is coming from the acute repertory, the second one is Allen's repertory, and the fourth one is Bach-Kent-Mind repertory, and so on and so forth. And then you might decide, oh, I want to add that fear of dark, of stool and urine with urging from the complete 2011 repertory. That's number 14, and so you could take number 14 and you could just bring it down and put it over here and add it to clipboard A and make it part of your repertorization. There you'll see it's right in your repertorization. So you can pull out rubrics from all the repertories simultaneously and look at them. Great. So that's the Find Remedy and Word window. Again, it's Control F. I really recommend you use this one over just the one called Words or Remedies. The Remedy and Words is the better window. Again, it's Control F. Go ahead and explore, play around with that. I will be spending more time exploring that window in the future, but I just wanted to give you an overall sense of how that particular window works. The next window I'd like to show you is the what we call the Concept Tool window, and you can access that with the keyboard command Control J. You can also get access to it by clicking on the search pull-down menu and going to where it says Concepts, and here you can see it says Control, or if you're using a Mac computer, it'll say Command. So Control or Command J, and that's going to open up this window. And I've already got information in here. Let me just show you how you would do it. Let's say that you want to compare a number of remedies for a particular word or combination of words because it's going to help you in a particular case. I'll give you an example. There's a really good case by Adolf Lippe. It's a case of this woman who's got phobia with water and urging to scratch and biting and convulsions and fear of water and dilated pupils. And really, it could fit any of a number of remedies, including lycinum or hydrophobinum, hyoscyamus, belladonna, stramonium, or cantharis. It happens to be a cantharis case because the concomitant symptom of this mental state is a ineffectual and painful desire for urination. So if you know your remedies, you know that of those remedies, the one that has most prominently associated with urinary disorders is cantharis. But maybe you don't know that. So let me show you how you could figure this out by using the concepts search tool. I'm going to go ahead and type in those remedies. Again, you can click on choose if you don't know the abbreviations. I can click on choose and I could type in B-E-L-L. Oh, there's belladonna. I could click on belladonna. I can click on the opaque K button and belladonna is added in. Or I can simply type them in. I'll hit enter and I'll type in H-Y-O-S for hyoscyamus. I'll hit enter. I'll type in S-T-R-A-M for stramonium. I'll hit enter and I'll type in C-A-N-T-H for cantharis. And then over here under words, I'm going to type in the word urinary, U-R-I-N-A-R-Y, okay? And so I'm going to search for these 5 or 4 remedies in combination with the word urinary to see how they relate to the urinary system. I then go ahead and click on the search button, and you can see it generates a little chart for me, and only 3 of the 4 remedies actually show up. One of them is much more prominent, and if I take my mouse and I bring it over to this yellow bar, you can see right over here, it says that this is the remedy cantharis. Oops, got out of that window. Okay, so that's cantharis, and the purple one is hyoscyamus, and the blue one is belladonna. Okay? So I can actually see, and I can see cantharis has a much stronger affinity for the urinary system than does either hyoscyamus or belladonna. Okay. Now you can also choose preset configurations to compare different remedies. Maybe you'd like to compare a number of different remedies for food desires and aversions, or anxieties and fears, or phobias. There's actually predetermined settings that are available to you. And the way you can access those to choose your concept is to bring your mouse over to the bottom left-hand corner, and you'll see this little icon with a little person's head on it. And if you click on that, you'll see you can compare aggravations, ameliorations, colors, delusions and fears, other types of emotions, foods, general themes, locations, pains. Maybe we want to compare sensations. We click on sensations, and here are all these different sensations, and we can see how these different remedies compare for different sensations, how they compare for jerking sensations, or screwing sensations, or boring, or pulsating. Or you can see cantharis, for example, has much more burning, you see that, than does either belladonna or hyoscyamus or stramonium. Or maybe you'd like to compare it for foods. You can click on foods, and now you can compare it for alcohol and beer and bitter foods and butter and chocolate. And you can just scroll down here, and okay, you can see, for example, that for fish, belladonna comes out much stronger than does hyoscyamus or cantharis or stramonium. It's much more prominent for belladonna. Or you could choose any of these other preset choices, and you can maybe choose weather or times or anything that you would like. Okay. All right, so that's the concepts tool. And I think that's probably a good place to stop. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. I think the best thing is to go back and review this information again, play with it a little bit further, and become more and more familiar. Again, we'll be doing further sessions in the future. I plan to do sessions on how to edit information in the repertory, how to add your own remedies and your own rubrics. It's a little bit more of an advanced tool. How to make your own graphs of analysis. Let me just show you that really quickly. I'm going to open up the repertorization window here. And here you see it for clipboard A. And if you look at the very bottom here, you'll see this little division sign. If you click on this, you can see that you have all these different types of repertorization strategies that are available to you. Some of these have been manufactured by various homeopaths. If you want to know how they're actually constructed, you can select one, like let's say expert analysis, and you could go over to where it says edit current strategy. And if you click on it, it'll actually show you how this strategy is actually created. Okay, so it's this 9 under totality, 3 under small remedies, 0 under small rubrics, 2 under prominence, 7 under number of rubrics, and so on and so forth. Okay, the ones that you're probably going to think about using quite a bit is number of rubrics. That's the repertorization strategy that shows you which remedy cover the most number of rubrics in your analysis. Prominent remedies, which is the one that shows you which remedies are in the highest degree in smaller rubrics. So for example, if you had chosen the rubric mind, hatred, unmoved by apologies, there's only one remedy in that rubric, nitric acid in bold type. If you chose that rubric because it's so prominent, the only remedy in bold type, that remedy would be moved higher up to the front of the repertorization because it's so prominent in that particular rubric. If you had chosen delusions, he is the object of God's vengeance, another good example. Only remedy in that rubric, calibromatum. I think actually maybe some few remedies have been added, but calibromatum is in that rubric in bold type. It's either the only or one of very few remedies in that rubric. Again, very prominent, and calibromatum will move higher up the list. So this kind of gives you the idea of what we call characteristic, or 1 aphorism 153 type symptoms, ones that are more characteristic of that particular remedy. And then you've got the repertorization strategy called small remedies, and that will do exactly what it says, which is it'll basically it'll actually take those remedies which are not well represented in the repertory, and it will move them up in the repertorization. And I actually created this one called Small Remedies and Small Rubrics. There is one called Small Rubrics, which emphasizes, let's check Small Remedies. You'll see if I do Small Remedies, you're probably unfamiliar with most of these particular remedies. If I choose Small Rubrics, on the other hand, that will be emphasizing those rubrics which are smaller in size. And I thought creating one called Small Remedies and Small Rubrics made sense, so I actually I took these two, and I manufactured one called Small Remedies and Small Rubrics. And if I click on that, I get this result. If I want to see what that actually is, you can see that I chose very high on small remedies and very high in small rubrics, and also on totality and number of rubrics, and that's how I got the small remedies and small rubrics graph. Okay, so that's, I think, it's a good place to stop. Again, I'll be reviewing more information in the future, and we'll also go on and do more with ReferenceWorks. ReferenceWorks has a lot of the same capabilities as we saw earlier. You'll see that in the bottom left-hand corner of the ReferenceWorks window, you've got that same green button, and here you've got a little button with a person on it where you can limit your searches to various parts of the body, individual sections of the chapters of any particular book. Okay, you've also got the ability to limit your searches to individual remedies or individual family groupings, and you've also got the ability to limit your searches to particular types of books, or you can actually select individual books that you'd like to limit your searches to. So again, this all works very much the same way that it works in MacRepertory, and we'll explore that in more detail in a future class.